Alright, so what's going on YouTube? I'm gonna do something a little, I guess, out of the ordinary for me for
Music bed.
what's going on right now. I'm gonna vlog. Yeah, so right now I'm just getting out of work. It's 2 o'clock. I'm pretty much in the center of downtown at Playhouse Square. The little arches are right behind me for that.
Music bed.
And I got some packages at home that I'm going to come home and open real quick before I go and head out on a 60 to 65 minute easy run.
Music bed.
So I found some shoes online. That is
Music
the
bed.
main piece of this package, which I'm very excited about. Some shoes to test out and, do a 100 or, 150 mile review on. So, we'll see about that.
Music bed.
But now I got to hop in my car, head home. I'm gonna grab a little bit of food before heading out on my easy run, which again, like I mentioned, that's about 60 to 65 minutes of just
Music bed.
running at about 6.5 minute per mile pace. So yeah, that's the schedule for the rest of the day. So I know what's in these boxes, so we're gonna start with obviously this box first.
Music bed.
Let me grab my safe scissors. And the box. I'm gonna be pulling this out of the box upside down. All
Music
right.
bed.
There we go. Yeah. So, I know what this is. I'm very excited to be trying this shoe.
Music bed.
It's a Reebok shoe, obviously. Just trying to... Oh, the Energy Symmetros is the name of this shoe. I got a really, really good deal on it, so there is that. I'm honestly beyond excited. I mean, it looks really good for a Reebok shoe, a Reebok running shoe. But that's what's in the box. This one,
Music bed.
this went kind of with it. I found this when I was looking for something else, and if you know me really well, I love buying running shorts. For whatever ungodly reason, I love just buying running shorts. So, with the money I saved on the Energy Symmetros sitting down there, I ended up getting a nice
Music bed.
pair of Reebok running shorts. Nice little split cut. It's got the pocket right here for your gels and keys and whatnot. But, something nice and, something
Music bed.
slightly different, differently cut. It's not a full split. It's actually a pretty low split if you look at the short overall. But again, something I'm super excited to try. All right, so it's been a couple of days since I recorded the footage that you just saw me in. And in this video, I did want to at least break down my highest mileage week ever. I know I talked about doing that in the previous video, so I want to do that for you here and
Music
offer a little something and offer some context to, you know, kind of what was going through my head that week as I was doing that. So let's flip over here real quick. So this is the beginning of that week. Now you notice here, if I just quickly scroll through, you're gonna see
Music bed.
numbers. This was me counting the numbers during the initial coronavirus spike. And if you see multiple counts of the same day, like day 43 warm up, day 43 workout, strides, cool down, I separate my activities. That way I'm able to track everything a lot easier, and it makes, you know, the workout on its own, warm up and cool down on its own, 200s or whatever ancillary speed work I'm doing on my own.
Music
So that's kind of what you see here. But I'm going to break down a little bit more of what I like doing. Now, I spend a lot of my time in between a handful of different places. There's a rail trail down in Medina County called Lester
bed.
that I've gone to a handful of times, and this was one of the times during the week that I went there. You'll see that on Friday. So that's kind of what was going on here. I also spend a lot of time out near my college campus running, which is exactly what this Monday run was. Now, another thing that you're going to notice is I very rarely, unless it's a workout day, have multiple entries. I am very, very big into running singles, and
Music bed.
there's not really any rhyme or reason for it. It's just that is kind of what helps me during the week, because then I can, you know, plot my time. Oh, I can spend, let's say, 4 hours running,
Music
and
bed.
you know, just essentially you put it aside. 4 hours here, one time a day, and then I have all my priorities lined up throughout that day in an order that I kind of keep internalized. So
Music bed.
there's that. This day specifically, I ended up running into an Olympian that lives in the area. He ran in the 96 Olympic Marathon for the country of Jamaica. Went to school with his kids, and I know his story pretty well. He also went to the same college that I went to, so we have a lot of pretty close ties, and it's always good to talk to him and, you know, kind of, you know, refresh my mindset. And it was really good to run into Nils and, you know, run with them and chat with him for a little bit on the day. Now, Tuesday, I'm not really going to go into warm up and cool down here. I'm going to hop into what I was doing for the workout on that day. First, I'm going to start with the weather. If you check the weather is usually pretty damn good. Now, keep in mind, this is the beginning of May, so it's kind of a wild card what you get with weather in Ohio.
Music bed.
Workout today was, or at least for this day, was a 30-kilometer fartlek where we did 5 times 5K at marathon pace with a 1-kilometer float. And that 1-kilometer float is kind of that moderate pace for me. Now, when I say moderate pace, I'm saying that it's a pace where I do about 4 minutes off, and I'm trying to keep it between usually 6 flat and 6:15 a mile. And you see that I actually do a halfway decent job with this. So it's typically about 4 minutes off in between 5K reps, and then the 5K reps, are at goal marathon pace. Now, when I was doing this workout in particular, I knew that Cleveland had been since canceled, so we were just kind of in the middle of, high mileage and doing longer stuff, kind of, prepping for a time trial of some sort. So that's kind of what's going on here. And you notice I'm running on a limestone surface down in Cuyahoga Valley that, for the most part, is pretty flat. And that kind of helps carry the speed, shades me when it's hot outside. I remember finishing this workout and I was absolutely spent by the end of this workout. Of course, did some strides and did a cool down as well. So honestly, that was a really solid workout for me on the day. And then I decided to drive down to Akron on Wednesday to do my medium long run. Now there's days where I feel,
Music bed.
I don't want to say good, but I just feel like doing something different. And typically when I do something different, I do something like this. Now, this is a run where, pretty solid weather overall. But if you look at the elevation profile here, it's steep. Now, I was doing some trail running here. Outside of hopping here, I got on some trails, got out to the road here.
Music bed.
And if people know this area very well, there was still, some snow and some slush on the ground. So I got on the sidewalk and I was just not necessarily slip sliding through, but I had some time
Music bed.
here and I was on the Akron half and Akron marathon course here. So decided to, enjoy some time there before, hopping back on the trails. And that's where you see that massive downhill of over 200 feet. But doing stuff like this for me, it's fun. And, it kind of relaxes me, takes me, somewhere else. And, I really like, when it comes down to it, I really like, doing trails from time to time, whether it be in a recovery day or a medium long run, as was the case here. I got to 16 miles in under 2 hours, which for a trail run, that's pretty phenomenal for me. Did another easy day here. You notice I'm only running at about 7 minutes a mile. Then this will be my only double of the week here. And I remember this workout pretty well. Parked down at the Lake to Lake Trail, and
Music bed.
I was getting ready to go with my buddies Andre and Oliver here. So what we ended up doing is we hopped in our trainers, warmed up a mile in our trainers, hopped in our flats, and then we went out to a loop in an apartment complex neighborhood that's fairly quiet, at least at this time of day at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's pretty quiet, not many people are on it. A lot of people are, working from home at this point, and, they're still, at their house
Music bed.
and whatnot. So, this workout was 2 times 3K, 2K, 1K. And we're going to take a look at the weather. Not good. 38, snowing, feels like 30. Wind 13.5 miles an hour out of the north-northeast coming right off the lake. So it did snow during this workout. I remember this very, very well. And we started off pretty quick.
Music bed.
Now, my tempo pace at the time was about 5:15, 5:18, something like that. And you notice here, we're running 5:02 pace. And like I said, it felt easy. I was in the back. Actually, was I in the back? I don't think I was in the back. I think I was setting the pace for the first mile, and we went out quick. Now that's a hallmark of what I do from time to time. I can show you another perfect example of that after I'm done recapping the week here. But this was probably one of the better workouts I've had in any block, really. That's a 9:31 3K. Keep that in mind. That's a 9:31 3K. At this point, I'm a year removed from college. And as a junior in college, I was running 9:20s and 9:30s for 3K. So just keep that in mind. Then, took a couple minutes rest. The next 2K rep, 4:52 through the mile. I did not expect that at all. I just kind of sat in behind Austin and Oliver, and I just went with it. And I could not believe, looking at that split with the heart rate that I had, I could not believe that was what we hit. And then I ran a 71, and if you do the math for 2K, I'm running 3:01 pace, or 15:05 5K pace. Then, again, we kept the pace pretty similar here, and we come through at 3:01. So we take a little bit of an extended rest here so we can try and control the pace. I go back to the front to lead the 3K rep. At this point, the second set was just me and Andre. So then we run a 9:24. I'm like, at this point, Andre and I looked at each other. We're like, all right, handbrake off, really. And that's kind of what happened. We took the handbrake off. The 2K rep here was a bit tougher. We were able to rein it in somehow for this. We ran 6:14 here. Yeah, 6:14. And then him and I joked, and we're like, all right, last K, let's see what happens here. So it was roughly about a lap and a half of the lake here, which if I flip the standard map over to the satellite map, you see there's a man-made lake here with a walking track that's about 700 meters in length around. So it's about a lap and a half. So that's exactly what we did, and we hit it pretty hard. And I ended up closing this workout in 2:52. My coach looked at me. Well, he wasn't there, but he texted me. He's like, dude, that's a crazy workout, but don't you think that was a little over the top? And yeah, it was a bit over the top. But again, this was a phenomenal workout. And I joked that I might have had a bit too much caffeine today. But I mean, I was already pumped up, and I really thought I hit another level in that workout. So let's head back to the second part. Now, this was the only double that I did. This is where we headed down to what we like to call our hidden gem. It's Lester's Rail Trail in Mallet Creek, Ohio, which is down in Medina County. And it's about a 35-minute drive, give or take. So we headed down there. It's usually pretty quiet, at least at the time we went. We went at about 7 p.m. So took it pretty easy. You notice there's a gentle incline and decline, and you notice as we went, we kind of started feeling better and better, and we just kind of started going at 6:20, which for me now, a year removed from this is kind of my normal recovery run pace, or it's pretty close to that. So that was the only double of the week that I did, and I jokingly called this a jog, even though it's only 6:55 pace. And again, wind didn't really calm down, and at this point it shifted from north-northeast to just being due north and coming straight from Canada off the lake. And luckily, when we're running on Lester's, it's pretty straightforward. Then I did an easy 12 on Saturday. You notice I'm running a lot slower here. It's only 6:59 a mile. And if you look here, I titled this Measuring the Course. Now, I started down on the Parkway, and I ran up to one of the neighborhoods where it's pretty low traffic, and I do a lot of marathon workouts at. So I was at this point getting ready for a half marathon time trial, and you notice I had a little ode to all my friends who had graduated, as that was supposed to be their walk day. And however, with the pandemic, nobody walked in 2020. So yeah, I ended up measuring the loops that I was going to use for the course, and the outer loop, this perimeter loop I like to call it, is 3.3 miles, and then this was a 5K loop that I measured out, and it actually measured out perfectly to 5 kilometers. So that was kind of what I was doing here, and I was making sure that I was running the tangents and doing everything right on that particular day. So that brings us to the long run. And I occasionally will do some long runs in a small group, and this was a pretty small group that we had. I remember this long run really well, and I had a conversation recently with my buddy Austin, who was also here for this. We did start. Is that Lock 29? Yeah, that is Lock 29. So we started this long run from a place in the center of the Cuyahoga Valley called Lock 29 in Peninsula. And if you've been to Cuyahoga Valley National Park and you've been to Peninsula, it's this super quaint, quiet, almost village-like town in the center of the national park. It's super nice, super quiet, and there's a lot of different ways you can run. You can go out on the towpath like we did here. You can go up on some trails. There's a loop called Spicy Lamb, which for the runners in the area, that's more of a trail running loop, and a lot of trail runners know Spicy Lamb very, very well. But I remember this run very well because by mile 4 we were already running 5:40 pace, and I'd already had 2 really, really good workouts, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do this. So I let the group drop me. Austin got dropped a little bit, so Austin and I paired up, and then we got back to the rest of the group here, and then we just kind of backed it off to 6-minute pace for 90% of the way back. And one of our buddies decided, since he was closing his long run, he wanted to close it pretty quick. So the entire group went with him. And if you notice, after we dropped him off, we dropped back a little bit in pace. Then I dropped the last couple guys off, and it was me solo. And then you see the pace just drop to something fairly easy just so I can get through and finish this long run. So that's exactly what I did. And, you know, for overall pace, 22 miles, 6:24. Honestly, a pretty solid run overall. But I did not pace that well at all. I mean, none of us did, so. But I mean, I still hit 115 miles on the week, which, you know, that's awesome. And that's still my highest mileage week to date. Now, I mentioned workouts. I'm going to talk a little bit about how I structure my weeks now that I've learned from what I did during 2020, and I kind of have a feeling of what works. I will slog, which is a slow jog, on Monday, and I try to keep that north of 7-minute pace. If you look at the week I did last week here, did the same thing. I just did an easy hour at 7:03 pace, and then, you know, that kind of set the stage for what I was doing for the week. Had 2x2 mile and 35 minutes at marathon effort, which was pretty good. And I think that set the stage ultimately for the long run I had this past Sunday, where this long run
Music bed.
was a perfect example of not really looking at a watch or paying attention whatsoever. And it was 1 up and 10 at a steady pace, a steady/moderate pace.
Music bed.
And, well, I mean, if you look at my splits, half this mile, for the most part, was a cool down. And then I kind of got back out on 6:15. And the last 2K, I closed in 5:55 for the hell of it. It was just,
Music
I like to think it's one of those days, and I think it kind of showed on that day. And I feel like whenever I slog on Monday, it kind of sets up my entire week to do something like I did on the treadmill yesterday. Now, if you see what I did on the treadmill yesterday, don't pay attention to this. This was just the elapsed time here. I'm going to flip over here. I was 5:12, 5:04, 5:04, and 5:02. And then I just ran it. I don't know why I ran the extra 23 seconds here, other than my watch to say, 4 miles. But regardless, do the math. That's 5:12, 10:16, so 5:08 pace. 15:20, which I think is 5:06 pace. And in 20...
Music
Yeah,
bed.
2024. That's 5:06. 5:05, 5:06. I just barely broke into the high 5:05s here because I was running 5:02 pace. So it was one of those days where I was just feeling it, had some music in, which I'll typically do music on a treadmill indoors because I don't want to hear, surroundings unless I'm outside. That's just kind of how I run. So that's what it came down to, and it was 4.08 miles in about 20:55 or something like that. And I talked about after the Sunday long run, I didn't know really what to expect. I thought I was going to be a lot sorer than I was on Monday when I slogged it out. And you notice I split my watch when the treadmill hit 1 mile, so that's why it says 5:08, not 5:12. I just remember seeing 5:12 on the treadmill at 1 mile, so that's where I got that. So it was one of those days where I was just feeling it, so I just kind of went with it, and that's another big part of my training. When it comes down to it, I'll just go with a lot of this stuff. Now, you notice that I'm right in that threshold zone, which is right where I want to be. And if you look at relative effort, this was a really low effort for what we were looking at on the day, and heart rate right there too. So everything I think went according to plan yesterday. I have a 14 miler medium long run coming up today, but that's where I'm at there. I thought breaking this down for you would be pretty nice, and you know, a nice fun little breakdown for you. But that'll be all for this video. Sorry that this video is as long as it is, but if you stuck through it all, I want to thank you for watching. Got more videos coming your way. Hopefully the weather breaks and, you know, I'm able to get outside and have some workouts filmed, and I can kind of break some of that down as well. But that all being said, thanks so much for watching. Twitter and Instagram down below in the description. You can also follow me on Strava. I'm going to throw that up on the screen here somewhere. And until the next video, deuces, y'all.